Welcome to another reading of Shipping and Handling by Pegasus Rescue Brigade. Today's reading will be Chapter 7, and I have a whole bunch of stuff on my screen that I do not want. Mr. Otterbreeze, please come to my office. I have an assignment for you. Looks like the boss needs me, Breeze said. I'll catch you later, Ditzy. Good luck on your assignment, well, if you get one today. He leaned in much closer to the female Pegasus, and good luck with, you-know-who. Giving his head a twitch in the direction of a certain blue uniform, who was ignoring the Pegasi and flipping through a magazine as usual. I hate being stuck here with Glow, Ditzy whispered back. Don't let her get under your skin, Breeze replied quietly. You know, she's usually just full of idle threats and empty insults. Breeze got up and trotted over to the door. Anyway, see ya. Bye, Ditzy replied, watching her co-worker trot down the stairs. Silence reigned for a few moments. Ditzy slowly made her way back to the side of the room where she and Breeze had been sitting, as far as possible from Glow, but she could feel the unicorn's gaze upon her. She chanced a look in her rival's direction. Glow's violet eyes peered over the top of her magazine. Her gaze met Ditzy's briefly, and the Pegasus quickly turned away, and instead of moved toward the table to search for leftover muffins from the morning. Hey, Ditzy, come here for a second. Ditzy tensed up at the request. Usually when Glow addressed her, she'd be using an insulting nickname like Walleyes or Muffin Breath. Hearing herself addressed by her real name probably meant Glow had something particularly nasty up her sleeve, which left Ditzy dreading the encounter more than usual. Ditzy turned to face the lounging mayor. Sure, what's up? I think it's time we had a little talk, Glow said icily, using her magic to fling her magazine into a far corner of the room. Mayor to mayor. Glow stood and began walking slowly toward the Pegasus co-worker, like a predator circling its prey. I see you've been quite the success lately, Glow said, almost casually. You fail your assignments even more rarely than I do. If I'm not mistaken, you've only had a hoofful of defeats, and it's nearly been half a year now since you joined our company. Well, yeah, Ditzy agreed. I don't know why everything just seems to go well for me. I'm just glad it does. It's a lot easier and more fulfilling dealing with satisfied clients afterward. Glow hummed. And what number is your success total up to these days? I don't know, said Ditzy, raising an eyebrow in suspicion. I haven't been keeping track, but I'm sure Candy Floss has it in a record somewhere. But why do you ask? Glow gave Ditzy a bored look. You can cut that act out, you know. You're not fooling any pony. Ditzy blinked in surprise. Act? What act? Glow gave a sarcastic chuckle. My, really do you really do play the total innocent card very well. Don't you, Ditzy? Oh, don't you, Ditzy? But somewhere under that moronic expression you're wearing, I can tell that you are secretly vying to become the new record holder here at Equestria Speedy Shipping Services. The way your success rate has been skyrocketing, you probably consider yourself a shoo-in by now. That's what it's about, Ditzy said loudly, her temper flaring at Glow's accusations. You think I'm trying to upstage you? I'm just trying to do my job and support my daughter. And I don't exactly control whether or not I succeed at my assignments. I would gladly let you keep the top employee title if I could, but I'm not going to purposely fail missions just to let you stay ahead. I'd rather help ponies who need my aid than pacify the desires than a less than genial worker. Glow snorted and stamped her hoof. There you go with that garbage again. Honestly, it's not the fact that some pony like you is actually threatening to beat my record that has me so very frustrated. It's your it's your Celestia forsaken goody attitude. I simply don't understand how you can be successful when you let yourself get all flustered over the well-being of your client. Ditsy smiled smugly. At first, failing an assignment almost broke me, she admitted. But then Candy Floss gave me a little pep talk and I... Stop right there, Glow interjected, silently realizing her chance to turn the speech she had eavesdropped on against Ditsy. I'm sure the boss gave you the whole sincere effort brings sincere ship speech, didn't he? Ditsy was taken aback. Yeah, he did. I wasn't aware he told anybody else about that. Glow laughed darkly. Are you kidding? That little fabrication of his is just a little lie to keep stupid ponies like you from getting discouraged when they fail a shipping job. I see it worked perfectly on you. Why should I believe you? Answered Ditsy, undeterred. I have no reason not to trust Candy Floss, and in fact he's a pretty great boss. You, on the other hoof, haven't given me a single reason to believe anything you say. Yes, I suppose that is true, Glow said coolly, turning and walking a few steps away from the Pegasus while swishing her tail in the most annoying fashion. And I could go on letting you live in the little fantasy world old Candy Floss has built for you. But but since I'm feeling particularly helpful today, I'll show you proof that I am correct. Proof that has been hovering right under your nose since the day you walked into this place. Proof, Ditsy said skeptically, still hesitant to believe the malicious unicorn over her seemingly well-meaning boss. How can you prove that? It's easy, Glow continued. You've overlooked the biggest piece of evidence against Candy Floss's rule. You overlooked me. You? Yes, Glow responded triumphantly. Clearly I don't use Candy Floss's advice in matchmaking because I simply don't concern myself with the true well-being of the customer. I use only two tools in my assignments: false politeness and a cold, hard strategy. I calculate the best way to make a pony appealing to another and act on emphasizing that characteristic, no matter what it is. To me, it's no more intimate than solving a jigsaw puzzle. I enact my strategy, I complete my assignment, I collect my pay, and I leave. And so, she continued, relishing in the dawning realization of Ditsy's face, surely even a thick-headed mare like you can see what this means. If anything Candy Floss told you was true, then all the signs would indicate that I would be a terrible pony for my job. And yet, I'm the best. My record is still far higher than any pony else's, including yours. The blue unicorn trotted right up to Ditsy, their faces just inches apart. While you may want to believe the ramblings of old Candy Floss, you can't overlook the facts. I am the best shipper, and that is impossible if his theories held true. Ditsy wasn't sure how to respond. She felt her chest tightening nervously as she struggled to find this loophole in Glow's logic. But I'm doing just fine with Candy Floss's method, the Pegasus said weakly. Maybe you're just the exception. Afraid not, Glow said with a smirk. Sure, you do care about your clients, and that doesn't change the fact that your success stems from your strategy alone. And apparently you're better at strategizing than I would like to admit. But when you fail, the fault belongs to you, not to fate. And the only way you'll be able to bear the knowledge is to detach yourself emotionally from your client. Somehow, though, I doubt you can do that. Ditsy had no response. She slowly slumped back to her haunches, sitting in the middle of the floor in a kind of shocked stupor as Glow continued to wander slowly around her, grinning evilly. Now let me make one thing perfectly clear, the unicorn said quietly. I am, and always will be, the top employee at this place. No matter how good you've been doing, you shouldn't allow yourself to get any ideas about overtaking my record. It's not going to happen. In fact, if this little discussion we just had bothers you too much, maybe you should just quit now. It would make things easier for the both of us. But I need this job, Ditsy mumbled, slicking further away from the haughty unicorn. I'm finally able to properly support Dinky. I can't go back being male mare, and I don't really have any other special skills. Glow laughed darkly. True, it takes a special kind of employer to want to hire a goofball like you. Just go get the goofballs. You ain't nothing to do about it. I really don't remember what that thing says. I just remember goofballs. Curse you, Vince, and your ability to make me watch videos such as that one was actually pretty disturbing. So, Vince, if you do manage or hear this, I want you to go watch. Don't hug me, I'm scared. Just for Shaws and Laws. And your daughter's probably stupider than you are, so it's not like she can support herself. Glow barely managed to activate her magic in time to catch the metal serving tray that Ditzy had flung at her from the snack table. She levitated it there as she stared at the Pegasus in shock. Oh, that was rather uncalled for. Uncalled for! Ditzy was worked into a rage like none she had ever experienced. You are the one whose actions are uncalled for. You can insult my eyes, my intelligence, and my disposition all you want, but I will not tolerate unkind words about my daughter. Now take it back, you overbearing, self-centered mule! Glow snarled. How dare you! The aura surrounding her horn flared, and the metal serving tray was whipped back in Ditzy's direction at twice the speed in the original throw. At precisely that moment, the door burst open and a yellow streak shot into the room. By some sheer coincidence, its trajectory happened to disrupt the hurled serving plate. There was a loud clang and a sharp cry as Watt tumbled backwards, knocked senseless by the projectile. He crashed into the far wall in an awkward inverted position, his back hooves dangling over his face, before he slumped down fully onto the floor. What? Said Ditzy in shock, hurrying over to the Earth pony's fallen form. What? Are you okay? Walt was still. His eyes were closed. Okay, don't panic, Ditzy said aloud. I'm just going to call for some first aid and... All of a sudden, Walt's eyes popped open and he jumped right to his hooves as if nothing had happened. You should watch where you're throwing that kind of stuff, Cosmo. Okay. You should really watch where you're throwing that stuff, Cosmo, he said in his usual, rather hyper voice. I'm a little sleepy right now, so I'm just gonna use that one. One of these days, you're gonna hurt some pony. Glow breathed a small sigh of relief that she somehow hadn't heard Watt. She had actually been planning to catch the tray again with magic before it hit Ditzy, just to give her a good scare. But Watt's entrance and collision with a projectile had been surely unexpected. Don't scare us like that, Watt, Ditzy said. I thought that thing knocked you out. Watt snickered. Come on now. It was only moving 45 miles per hour. I was going at least twice that, and I run into stuff all the time at that speed. Ditzy blinked a few times. You're a unique one, Watt. Watt smiled a toothy grin before turning to Glow. So, Cosmo, what's going? Watt's question was cut off by the loud grating sound of the intercom. Candyfloss's voice crackled over the speaker. Miss Cosmic Glow. Oh, oh, I forgot this is Candyfloss, and I kind of like his voice. Miss Cosmic Glow, please come to my office for an assignment. Thank you. Glow got up. See you two goofballs later. See you two goofballs later, she said. Want, try not to run into any other projectiles while I'm gone. So you're worried about me now? Asked Watt with some confusion. You throw stuff at me all the time. That's true, Glow mumbled as she disappeared down the staircase. When she disappeared, Watt turned to Ditzy with a slight frown. Was Cosmo trying to throw that thing at you? He asked with some concern. Ditzy nodded. Well, we got into a little argument. I guess, we let it get at a hoof. Well, don't worry about it, Watt said. As long as no pony got hurt, then who cares? Are you sure you're not hurt? Ditzy asked. That looked pretty painful. I'm fine, really, said Watt. Another benefit of being an Earth pony. We're built pretty tough. Well, thanks for taking the hit from me, Ditzy said, even if it was by accident. Watt nodded quickly. No problem. Ditzy let Watt go off to whatever it was Watt did while waiting for an assignment. She slumped down to the couch and tried to take her mind off the recent events by continuing the novel she was reading in her spare time. She found herself unable to pay attention, however. She couldn't stop thinking about Glow. Could Glow really be right? Could Candyfloss be some big liar who does whatever it takes to help keep his employees working for him? If any of this was true, it meant Ditzy was back to square one, Failed assignments really were something to get upset about, unless you were an unemotional jerk like Krlo. The gray Pegasus found herself feeling quite depressed about the whole situation again. I wish I could talk to Breeze about it, she thought. If he can't tell me who to believe, then nobody can. The silence was broken as, yet again, the loudspeaker crackled and Candy Floss's voice came forth. Ditsy Do and Kilowatt Hour. I'd like to see you both in my office. Thank you. Watt jumped up. Assignments for both of us. Let's go. The excitable pony scurried out of the door, and with Ditsy tagging along behind. The pale unicorn braced himself for the usual commotion. The door flew open with a crash, and the bright earth pony flew in, knocking the chairs askew as he threw his front hooves up on the desk, looking his boss straight in the eye. Good afternoon, Watt, said Candyfloss calmly, impervious to his employee's exaggerated antics. Where's Ditsy Do? I'm right here, Ditsy said, arriving in the small office. Sorry, but you can't expect me to get downstairs as fast as Watt does. Quite right, Candyfloss admitted, motioning subtly for the earth pony to get off his desk. Watt finally caught the hint and returned all four hooves to the floor. Now, said Candyfloss, today a most unusual situation is unfurling. A client has contacted me and has requested not one, but two shippers to be sent to her aid today. She, of course, offered to pay both the full price, so I see no reason to oblige her wishes. Two shippers, Ditsy repeated. Why, does she have a reason? Candyfloss produced a somewhat awkward expression and shuffled through his notes for a moment. The client claims, and this is her words, not mine, that she will need reinforcements, because only one pony helping her will never be enough to overcome the Imperial Army. Watt's eyes lit up. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds pretty exciting. Imperial Army, Ditsy asked. What Imperial Army? The closest thing Equestria had to a military is the Canterlot Royal Guard Battalion, and even if that is what she's talking about, why would she ever need to overcome that? Candyfloss shook his head. I'm as confused as you are. The client actually requested my entire staff, but since you and Watt are the only ones not currently on assignment, you're all I could agree to send. But we've never refused a client before without at least visiting them and getting the whole story. So would you two please at least go and see what this is all about? If it turns out to be something illegal, then of course you can, and should decline and return here. Yes, sir, Watt cried, saluting his boss. Where are we headed? Candyfloss glanced at his notes again. A bakery in Ponyville. The place is called Sugar Cube Corner. Why are you so slow? I think the better question, Ditsy replied at her overzealous co-worker, is why are you so fast? Watt was vibrating in place as he stood up the road a few meters, waiting for the Pegasus to catch up. Ditsy swore she could hear a humming sound emanating from him, roughly akin to the given off by the high-voltage telephone wires. Can't you just fly there? Watt whined. I could have been there 10 minutes ago if I wasn't waiting for you. I'm sure you could have, Ditsy chuckled, but what's the rush? It's a beautiful day, and I need a relaxing trot to clear my head. I haven't exactly been having the best day. But aren't you interested to find out what this weird client wants us to do? Watt asked, trotting in place as if he were warming up for a sprint. I mean, what do you think that this Imperial Army is all about? I don't know, Ditsy admitted, but wouldn't you rather have a simple mission? A job description like the one that fills... A job description... A job description like this one fills me with concern rather than interest. But that's no fun, Watt announced. Even a job like ours can get mundane after a while. I think it's about time we get something over the top to do. Well, it's time to find out for sure, Ditsy replied. We're here. The two ponies stood in front of Ponyville's premier bakery, the giant mock gingerbread house known as Sugar Cube Corner. Hold on, I need to take a drink. My throat is extremely dry, and it was hard to do that candy floss voice with the dry throat. I feel much better. Ditzy entered the whimsical-looking building, with Watt following close behind. Immediately a torrent of pleasant aromas assaulted Ditsy's nose. Beneath the glass of the display cases rested the wildest assortment of baked goods to be found anywhere in Ponyville. Fresh, hot apple pies and sweet cupcakes with colorful frosting sat cooling on the counters. A huge barrel was filled to the brim with assorted candies, and a wooden rack held a bright display of giant lollipops. A sense of cheerfulness pervaded the entire establishment, causing even Ditsy's frayed nerves to become relaxed somewhat. Walt licked his lips. "Hey, Ditzy, before we go, we should grab a treat for the road." The thought of Walt on a sugar rush caused the mare to twitch slightly. Instead of responding to the earth pony, she trotted up to the counter and rang the service bell. A light blue earth pony with a wavy pink mane emerged from the kitchen and spotted the two customers. "Oh, hello, Ditzy. Oh, this is Mrs. Cake. Oh, it's temporary, so I can just... Oh, hello, Ditzy. Oh, sorry, that was hard. Oh, hello, Ditzy Doo," she greeted. "I haven't seen you here for quite a while. Are you here for a batch of muffins, or maybe just ingredients for them?" "Hello, Mrs. Cake," said Ditzy. "I'm actually not here for muffins today. My coworker and I came to respond to a call made to Equestria Speeding Shipping Services." "Equestria who now?" Mrs. Cake asked with a giggle. "Never heard of it." "Maybe Pinkie Pie made the call. She's been up in her room since around lunchtime." "Mind if we go see her?" "Of course not," responded Mrs. Cake. "Just head up the stairs. Her room is the first on the left." "Gotcha," said Watt, shooting up the stairs in a matter of seconds. Mrs. Cake didn't seem particularly surprised by the almost supernaturally fast movements, but then again, she did live with Pinkie Pie. Ditzy trotted up the stairs as Watt rapped on the door, a series of short, speedy knocks that reminded Ditzy of a woodpecker picking at a tree. "Come in," a high voice sang from inside. Watt pushed the door open, and the two matchmakers made their way into Pinkie Pie's room. The party pony hopped over to greet them. "Hey, it's you," Pinkie said to Ditzy. "I told you I'd see you in Chapter 7, and I see all those readers are still following you around." "Those what?" asked Ditzy. Pinkie wasn't paying attention, though. She was waving at the readers again. "Hi, Pinkie." Watt's eyes went wide. "Wait, you can see them too?" "Well, duh," Pinkie chirped. "They're right there, on the other side of the fourth wall." "I know," said Watt, "but I always assumed they were some product of my warped imagination combined with the concussive head trauma from Glow always hitting me." Ditzy looked in the direction of the other ponies were indicating, but saw only a blank paneled wall. She fought the urge to turn tail and leave the room right then, instead opting to try to get her friend and her client back on topic. "Pinkie Pie," she said quickly, "by any chance did you contact Equestria Speedy Shipping Services today?" "Oh, yes," Pinkie squealed. "I almost entirely forgot about that. It's super important, too. It's a good thing you reminded me." "Okay, then," said Ditzy, relieved to have gotten back on track. "So, who is it you're interested in, and what in question does it have to do with an Imperial army?" Pinkie giggled. "Oh, Ditzy Doo, you're such a silly pony. I'm not the one that needs relationship help. I actually called on behalf of a good friend of mine." She swiveled in place and jerked her hoof toward the corner of the room. "He's right over there." "He's right over there." Ditzy turned to look in the direction Pinkie Pie indicated, and was dismayed to discover that, once again, no pony was there. However, this time, Watt appeared equally confused, which was some consolation, albeit a small amount. "I'm sorry," said Ditzy finally, trying hard to mask the slight irritation in her voice. "I might just be my bad eyes, but I don't see any pony there. What are you talking about?" "He's right there," Pinkie Pie insisted, "sitting on the stool." Titsy looked at the stool. There was no pony, or for that matter any living creature upon it. The only thing on it was a rather appallingly large ball of dust. A ball of dust? Asked Ditsy very slowly, not sure what to make of it. Yes, the ball of dust, Pinkie Pie screeched, as if it were plain as day as she continued talking about it. This ball of dust is my dear friend Sir Lancelot. He has found himself in a romantic predicament of fantastic proportions. There was a long silence. Ditsy stared, dumbfounded, at the clearly delusional pink pony, who simply stared back at the with a disturbingly large smile on her face. Let me get this straight, she said finally. You called our company, and had one eye, come rushing over here to help you find this ball of lint, this very ball of lint that is placed on this stool. Find love. Pinkie Pie nodded fiercely. I'll need all the help I can get if I want to regain my sweetheart, she said in an obnoxious accent. Ditsy was momentarily confused, but then realized that Pinkie had moved the lint ball around with her hoof a bit and spoke with an unusual accent. She is speaking as the lint ball. Does this pony have any grip on reality at all? Oh, you talk! One cried excitedly. That will make things much easier for us. He scrambled up to the stool where Sir Lancelot rested and sat down in front of it, like a colt eager to be told the story by his mother. Oh, Sir Lancelot, please tell us your tale of heartbreak. You have got to be kidding me, said Ditsy, under her breath, as she too plopped herself down to let Pinkie Pie tell her story in the bizarre voice of Sir Lancelot. You see, Pinkie began, moving her mouth as little as possible and waggling Miss Sir Lancelot around for extra emphasis. I am in love with the most beautiful woman in my homeland. Her luscious form is matched only by her sweet and generous personality. She is my ultimate love. She is the very reason for which I live. She is the beautiful and gracious Madame Lafleur. Madame Lafleur, a flour sack. Oh, Madame Lafleur's a flour sack, Pinkie added with her normal voice, and not a half-bad-looking one at that. Ditsy placed her head in her hooves in exasperation. And yet, Sir Lancelot continued, the apple of my eye cannot be mine. Alas, she is the princess of a kingdom that wars with my own, and while she and I are madly in love, her father, the vile tyrant known as King Turnip, guards his daughter as his most precious possession. If I were to set foot in his kingdom, his army would surely strive to slay me and my allies immediately. But I can let nothing come between me and Madame Lafleur. I need a group of brave heroes to help me delve in enemy territory and whisk my princess away from her evil father. And that's where you two come in, Pinkie finished. Ditsy opened her mouth to tell Pinkie, as nicely as possible, that she was utterly insane, and no self-respecting pony would possibly engage in such a ridiculously fantastic adventure. But what cut her off? What a touching story, the yellow earth pony bawled. Of course we'll help you, Sir Lancelot. It's our duty to put our lives on the line to bring about true love. Oh, thank you, brave hero, Sir Lancelot cried. Dang it. No! For your aid on this noble quest, I am most grateful. Wait, Ditsy interjected. What, it's not our duty to put our lives at stake for this job, and besides, there is no job to do because our client is just a ball of... A realization suddenly caught up to Ditsy. Sir Lancelot and Wat had exchanged a few sentences, yet Pinkie Pie had wandered away, and appeared to be busy packing a suitcase for the impending quest. If Pinkie Pie was over there, then that meant... Ditsy stammered, swaying in place for the magnitude of the realization struck her. It's talking. Yeah, said Watt. So? No, Ditsy continued. Now it's talking on its own. I would prefer to be addressed as a he rather than an it, said Lancelot indignantly. He's alive! I'm alive! Ditsy cried out in fear. She jumped to her that says feet. That says feet. That says feet, Mr. Arthur. That says feet. She jumped to her hooves and scrambled to the bedroom door, yanking it open and flinging it to the hallway. Only she didn't find herself in the cozy second-story hallway of Sugar Cube Corner. Instead, she found herself surrounded by intimidating dark stones, rough cut into huge blocks that formed a hallway reminiscent of a medieval castle. Where am I? What's going on? Ditsy screamed, her voice echoing through the huge passageway. We're in my castle, of course. We are in my castle, of course, said the strange voice of Sir Lancelot. Ditsy turned back around to face her companions. Watt, Pinkie Pie, and Sir Lancelot now stood in the passageway as well. Any sign of the door leading to Pinkie Pie's bedroom, the last shred of anything still linking Ditsy to Ponyville, and the reality she was familiar with had vanished completely and replaced with a cold gray stone. I'm going to go ahead and stop right now because I am oh 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 god, that sounds nasty, but I thought I hadn't pressed record. Oh, that would have been the third time I would have had to record.